Hello guys, and welcome back to another episode of Surviving Mars with me, Murphy. Last time we had a look at our food, and we also looked at the power options within the game. Today we're going to have a quick scan at the houses and the generally amenities within each of the colony domes that are currently available until some modders come out and release something new. So let's just go and find the first house type, which is a very basic one which you get when you first start, and it's this little beautiful thing here. Now each dome has a comfort factor, or an average comfort factor for all your colonists, and living quarters play a big part of their happiness level. And this living quarters, as it's called, is as I say, the very first one you get. They look actually quite nice to live in, if I do say so myself. But it gives you a comfort factor of 50, so that's the number up here. But it's a case of there are other things that we can do. After we have researched the low G high rise, which is this one here, that gives you a comfort factor of 35, so it reduces it down, but you're able to have 24 residents opposed to 14 with the living quarters. Obviously in the smaller domes this will become very, very useful, so you really need to have a lot more amenities with having these apartment styles around, so that your general overall comfort of your dome is greatly improved. The next house that we can build is in two parts. You have a single home, which is called a smart home, or you have the smart complex, and both of these give you a comfort factor of 70. So these are using a lot more electronics to actually build. With that in mind, it's actually using electronics as a maintenance cost for it, whereas the apartments and the original living quarters both use concrete as their maintenance. So in the very early game you're really going to be working with those two structures. You don't really have electronics available in such great quantity. So those are the three basic buildings. The fourth is a spire that you can actually research later on in the game. Now this gives you only a comfort factor of 60, but it will actually hold 32 people. Unfortunately there's not a great deal that we can actually look at, other than this thing does, if we just come away from the dome and a bit further out, it does extend outside of the dome, which is a nice little feature. So to really, if we have a look at the actual comfort factor of this dome, it's an average comfort of 75, and that is to do more with these other amenities. Now if we look at the spacebar, as we can see a few people are sat in the spacebar coming up and visiting. You have a service comfort factor of 63, so that doesn't add a great deal to it, but it does actually help. You also have the likes of your infirmary. That gives you a 43%, and I love watching these things where the doctor's working away and sometimes the patient will actually come and lie down here. I absolutely love that. The grocer gives you a service comfort of 53, which we also already looked at the last episode. And then if we go to our diner, that gives you 120. So you can imagine there that, oops, get a bit closer. Imagine there that having more diners in your dome, or having multiple diners in there, are really going to improve the comfort level of your colonists. We also have the open air gym. That gives you a comfort factor of 50, but that gives you the services of social and exercise. Now exercise can be found within standard little gardens that you can place down, so you don't necessarily need to have a big open air gym. So here you've got relaxation, exercise and playing on a stone garden. You've got it on a small alley, so a single square, and I think I've also got a tree over here, and I think that also gives exactly the same. Yeah, it gives you a comfort factor of 50 for just that, and it gives you that ability for your colonists to go and exercise and play, etc. So you don't necessarily always need to have an open air gym. Next, we've got the casino. This gives you a service comfort of 72. There's not a great deal to look at the casino. It's just basically, yeah, that's it. It's a bit of a shame. It would be nice to be able to go in and see the colonists within the actual area, as you do with the diner, the infirmary, the space bar, everything else. You seem to be get to see them. So what else brings comfort to the actual dome? Well, it's actually things like this. So electronics store, 140%, or 140. Sorry, 108. I'm looking in the wrong place here. 108 service comfort. And as you can see, these guys working away within here. He's going home now. Just my luck. Number of visitors today. Total today 15. Lifetime 27. It's not been open that long on this dome, so that's not too bad. We also have the art gallery. That gives you an 83 service comfort factor. And the pictures, I'm afraid, once you've seen them all, because they're all the way. Each side you look at, they're all the same. But it's nice to watch your colonists go in and observe, and it just satisfies the luxury element and shopping element of your colonists. We also have nurseries. Now, nurseries do not give you any additional comfort. What nurseries, along with your infirmary and your playground, give you opportunity for your colonists to have families. So you need those three things in place so that you can actually have your colonists to grow. Now, as I say before, I can't build domes fast enough. We've got 1880 there, and it's a case of, as soon as I build a dome, they fill it, and I then need more people. So those are the things that really add to your comfort level of your colonists. But each colonist has traits. Okay, so if we go to bring people in on a passenger rocket, we've got our perks. So those type of traits. So you've got workaholic, survivor, sexy, composer, genius, celebrity, saint, etc. They're all there. Okay, and you have flaws. So people who can be lazy, chronic condition, idiots, alcoholics, gamblers, glutton, hypochondriac, whiner, melancholic, lone and coward. And then we have quirk of guru, tourist and vegan. So what can actually help with your people on your actual planet? Basically, you've got two buildings here. You've got your school. So your school will help improve certain types of traits. So we've got the nerd, we've got the composer, we've got the enthusiastic, we've got religious and survivor. So we can set our schools to build those traits into the new colonists. Then we have the Martian University, and again this actually helps us by ensuring that we have the right skills in our colony. So we have the botanist, we have the engineer, the geologist, medic, scientist and officer. So all skill sets that we need. Generally I leave it on auto and let it currently work out where it's needed, and it will just sort out in the required order. So those things add benefits to your colony. And one other thing that also adds a nice little treat is a little wonder. And it's this thing. If I can get a good shot of it. This is the Project Morpheus. Now, this gives traits to our colonists, no matter where they are in your map. So far we have received 666 traits on top of their existing ones. So celebrity, composer, enthusiastic, party animal, fit, gamer, genius, Now, Genius gives you the extra science bonus as well, so that's always interesting to have. Hippie, nerd, religious, rugged, saint, sexy, survivor, and workaholic. Now, you can't specify what traits that we want to actually give out to the colonists. However, it will just, whatever it gives out, it's going to be a benefit to you. So those are the main amenities. We also have, if we go into this colony here, or sorry, this dome here, we also have our, hang on, if I click it would help, we have our security station. This also doesn't give you any service comfort, but when you have people who are unemployed or working shifts that they struggle with, etc., or as you can see here, I've got a lot of homeless people here and people without jobs, they keep the undesirables at bay. Now, if I come out of this dome and jump into this one over here, you can see that I've got two. See, I've got two in here. And if we click on it, we've got renegades within the dome of 4. So those are things that really can be very difficult to deal with in an early game where they start stealing resources that you know you need for other things. Now, another little thing that really helps is this Renault. Nope, what am I doing? This Sanatorium. Now, this gets Sanatorium, apologies, there we go, get it right. This helps remove traits. So we can choose an alcoholic, gambler, glutton, lazy, chronic, and melancholic and coward traits for them to remove. And that's why I've actually put it into this dome, because those are the sort of traits that will get removed, and it will also contribute to the renegades in the dome. By removing some of those traits, people will be less likely to be upset, and they're let's go to a person for instance, and I'll show you what I mean. So here we go. Red Firth, he's got health, he's got a chronic condition, so he loses points constantly. So sanity, they're well rested, that's good. Prepared meal, you couldn't get to the restaurants by the looks of things. As healthy as a bull, one with the university and living in luxury. Okay, maybe not him. Let's have a look in our manufacture. Do we actually have anybody working nights? Because what I had with this dome originally was people working nights. We need to really have 2 shifts there actually. Might as well keep them working. So, right, there we go. Wrong persons. Oh, wrong specialists. Oh, it's supposed to be persons I've seen in a exercise area. So let's have a look. So, okay. Right. So he is a non-specialisation. So he hasn't actually got a specialisation yet. He's getting wrong workplace specialisation. So that's really where your schools and your university comes into play. So maybe what we need to do is open up our university to get more people trained on our specification, which will then reduce that negative effect for wrong workplace specialisation. Okay, so that's the houses and the amenities. Next thing we'll look at next time is we'll look at some of the mining and other infrastructure around that you really need to get off the ground in an early game, but some of the benefits of a later game. Now, before we shoot off, we can have a quick look at some of the researches, so you can actually see which ones are the ones I'm talking about, the ones you need to get for improving your social levels. So we've got the Martian education here. Now, bearing in mind, last video I said that I'd recommend the robotics low G drive and the Explorer AI followed by the magnetic filter and the low G fungi biotechs. Now, it is apparent after a couple of games that actually these rotate, so it don't always appear in this sort of order, but these are ones that you should look out for. These are static, but everything else, it depends on what you find at the time when you actually go out and research anomalies, or by the time you open up one of these is what it gives you afterwards. So that's what I thought I'd better correct myself on. So again, so you got Martian education. This is an interesting one. A supportive community lowers the risk of colonists developing flaws after a sanity breakdown. If you've got colonists working in a night shift, their sanity does take a massive hit. Unfortunately, I did have a number of suicides early in this game, and by researching the supportive community, once they had that sanity breakdown, they recovered better and quicker. So that's an interesting one to go for if you are having to work your colonists round the clock. So we also have the Martian Institute of Science. Now, we haven't looked at the science buildings, so we'll have a look at that in a minute. But this helps build up your research quite substantially. So you can see at the top up here, I'm using research labs, which are the first few that I built when I actually started the game, followed by the majority of my science being built on the science institutes. So it can build, it can actually create more research quicker than the research labs. So we'll have a quick look at those in a moment. Here's your behavioural shaping, the spire, which we talked about. There's your another benefit of having a social element. So you can actually increase the service comfort of buildings by 10% once you've researched that. Let's get a few more of those going. That's the sanatorium upgrade, so it actually replaces remove flaws with random perks. So once you've got the sanatorium, it'll remove that. Will actually remove the bad behaviour and give you some good ones, which is quite clever. Also, Martian strength. Martians don't take sanity damage from disasters. So, at the start of my last episode, it was a meteor storm. Most of my Martians do not take any hits on their sanity because we've already got it researched. And also, you've got working outside of a dome reduces the effect of sanity. Now, where are the ones I wanted to show you? They were right. There's your smart house. So, and there's your low high rise. Obviously, once you've researched the smart house, you can also get the complex as well. There is your no, that's the megadome. Where's the is that? Yeah, there we go. There's the new the archaeology for the spire in the centre of the first house that gives you 30 plus colonist homes, etc. And what else have we got? We looked at the, where is it? It's somewhere here. Martian network. There we go. Project Morpheus, another one of the wonders. So that stimulates the development of new perks in adults colonists throughout the entire colony, which is so useful. Right, okay. I think that's that. We'll quickly have a look at the science buildings so you can see the two difference. Ah, perfect. So here is our science lab. So we've only got, let's get a few more people working there. We're only producing daily science from that building, if I can actually get a decent view of it, of about 350. It should increase now. I've actually got another shift working there, but there's not a great deal to see there. So if we pull out and I go to a newer dome, so we have the Science Institute. So they're currently researching Martian copyright, which is what gives me 2 billion currency every day, a couple of days. But as you can see, it's a lot more to see. We've got people working on the top, doing something. Ooh, anomaly. That's interesting. Let me just go and have a quick scan at that. Got me all excited then, for it was only a science anomaly. Anomaly, can't even say it. Right, so we can let that guy go and research that. It'll just give us extra credits. So that's what we've sorted out for this episode. Thank you very much for watching. If you've liked what you've seen, hit that subscribe. And next time we'll have a look at the mining side of things and look at how we can actually make those as profitable as possible. So that's Murphy out.